This week on Real Kiwi Fishing, we head out Muriwai Beach for a surf cast in search of some fish off the sand. We also look at the new Abu Veritas 3.0 surf rods which are due out this season. I'll also show you a few tips, tricks and rigs I use when surf casting, and we'll also look at reading the beach and what I look for when I fish them and more.
Muriwai Beach is situated just 42 km west of Auckland City. It is definitely worth a drive if you want to experience the west coast rugged coastline. Muriwai Beach has rich iron black sand which comes from ancient volcanoes within the area. This includes the large Kaipara volcano which used to be just offshore from the Kaipara Heads. There is a couple of ways to access the beach, with the most popular being is Coast Road that runs behind the golf course. A lot of kite kontiki fishers enjoy a relaxed day up Muriwai Beach with friends and family, and is a very productive way to catch fish. Always keep an eye out for kids and animals that are also frequent with these fishers.
One thing that I like to do going along Muriwai Beach is you'll come across every now and then a lot of shells on the shoreline here. You'll see them here on this patch here. So what I like to do sometimes is, if I find a spot that's perfect into a little hole or a gut and amongst those shells on the shoreline, that's where I'll surf cast. What I find is obviously there's some kind of shell bed out there, which obviously brings the fish in. Now also what I find is, as you look along the beach here, you've got the waves coming in, and then you'll find like a little shelf that the water doesn't come up past, and what it is you've got sort of like a hole in a channel, and then you've got like a sort of like a sandbar here, and the water doesn't come in as far. And then there's another hole on the other side of that. So what happens is, as the tide goes out, you can actually walk right out on these sort of bars, and you'll get out right on that lip, and there's a hole either side of that, and you can actually throw your line in there, or you'll end up right outside that bar, that sandbar, casting into another hole and a channel as well. So that's what I look for, is where the water doesn't rush up as much as other places, and that's letting me know there's some kind of shelf there. So I could walk out there about 100 meters and it's only knee deep, and then walk out here and it's over my head. It's like a couple of holes, the shelf, and then the holes. So that's a couple of things that I look for when I drive Muriwai Beach, is the shells on the shoreline tells me there's shellfish out in front here, and then something like this. You can see it happening now. The water's going right out about 300-400 meters, and it's only ankle to knee deep. So you can walk all the way out there, get out there into that next channel. So normally what happens, you've got the beach, got a little channel sort of waist deep, and it'll come up again onto a shelf, and then out in front of that shelf there's a big sort of gutter and channel that runs along the beach. It can be up to about 10 to 20 feet deep, and then you've got the main sort of sandbars again out sort of 500-600 meters. So you're fishing in that little gully that runs along the beach. That's where the fish will come in. They'll come in, over that sandbar that's breaking way out there, and they'll come into that channel and just mooch up and down that channel through the day. Better at night, obviously, early morning. Yeah, that's what I look for up here on Muriwai Beach, and that should help you sort of understand. You know, you could be standing here and casting onto that flat area, and it's only ankle deep, so you got to learn those shelves that sit here. It'll go like a shelf, hold, another shelf, hold, and it goes like that sort of up through the beach. So that's what you want to sort of look for. Now another thing that I like you'll notice the waves here. It's in a hole here, and you've got the main sort of the sandbar out there that I was telling you about that you can walk out to over here, but it'll break on that shelf, roll over, and then the waves will just start bubbling. They actually won't break. It means there's a hole there. There's nothing for the wave to sort of come up on the shallows and break. So that's letting me know there's a deepish hole there. So that's why I like fishing these spots on the low tide. It's getting you right out into that deeper channel. These inside channels do hold fish, but they're normally only about waist deep, and night fishing, early morning is the go for those spots. They'll hold trevally, snapper, and obviously kahawai.
I'll be using the Abu Veritas for the day. This is our low rider guide rod, which is great for overhead reels, but this also makes it suitable for spin reels as well. Some people actually prefer the low rider guides for the longer casting with spin reels, as the first guides pulls the line in very early on through the cast, which gives less friction from the line through the rest of the guides.
Looking at the new Abu Veritas 3-point surf rods, just by looking at them instantly you can see they've kept a striking white colour, but it comes with a new cosmetic look. The new 3.0 series come with increased comfort and improved weight and balance, with a lightweight, high modulus composite 30-ton graphite construction, and its combined sublayer armour reinforces high strength fibres, which gives uncompromising strength and sensitivity and lightweight and a balanced design. The Veritas surf rods run high quality stainless steel sea guides with aluminium oxide inserts and lightweight Fuji reel seat for strength, comfort, and finished off with contoured Ultralon EVA grips. This combined all together gives a crisp and responsive rod that delivers incredible casting distance. So there's not a lot happening at the moment. Tide's still dropping. Had a few small bites. Caught a stingray, which is sort of normal for the west coast. But not even any kahawai really. Pierre's keen for a kahawai for lunch. But pretty quiet, so what we might do is pack up and move down the beach a bit. Just move, sometimes just like fishing in the boat. Move 100 meters, couple hundred meters, and you're onto the fish. And that's the same with surf casting. Sometimes they might be feeding in a certain area on some crabs, you know, shellfish, and we're just in the wrong spot. And you're just getting those odd ones sort of swimming through. So we've done a little bit of a shift. Wasn't a lot happening up where we were. Got a few nice little bites. Probably snapper, felt like snapper. Could have been trevally, kahawai, who knows. But all we managed to get out of there was basically a stingray. So what we've done is we've decided to shift probably about 2 k's. We've shifted further down, and what it is that channel is still running down this area here. So you can sort of see behind me here. Now this is what I was telling you about. See the lip there? The waves are breaking at about 50 feet in front of me. That's the lip of the bar there. And then out in front of that there's a hole or a channel gut that runs up parallel with the beach. That's where we're fishing. out past there is the next sandbar. So we're fishing in between the two, and fish should be swimming up and down that channel all day just searching for food. Hopefully we get into a few. When fishing on the west coast, what I like to do is I like to fish with braid, and what that normally helps is obviously casting for distance, but also when you get the surge and all the wave action and all that kind of stuff, I find the braid will actually cut through that kind of stuff a lot easier than heavy sort of mono. And the other thing, obviously when you're using braid, is what kind of rigs do you use. So you got the standard basically dropper rig, which is basic, you know, tie it straight to your braid, swivel, trace, hook, and then sinker. So that's pretty basic. What I like to use is actually a running rig on the west coast. Now, it's quite difficult to obviously have your sinker sort of running along that braid, up and down your braid. So what I do is I've basically got 2 leaders. So the first one is I've got a swivel straight to my braid there, and then I've got about 1 meter of 60-pound trace in mono, and that's actually helps as well as like a shock absorber, obviously, because you're using braid. But that helps. What that does, it helps me to have my running rig. So basically I've got that meter of line there, and my sinker will run up and down that line quite freely. And then as it get down to the other end, I've got another swivel and then another meter trace. So that gives me the running rig scenario with braid. So what I do is I cast it out. You're able to wind it up quite tight. You've got the you know, your sand spike sinker there, wind it up tight, and then you've got your trace right to the sinker. Fish will bite, grab, run, take off, and it'll give you basically a good sort of 2 or 3 seconds before it goes tight, and then you strike. So that's what I like to do out on the west coast, is fish more with braid, and that's how I get away with my running rig. So just sort of basically 2 traces, and that'll give you your running rig. Now, looking at your dropper rig, what I like to do is, if I don't have a bait runner reel, what I do is I use a recurve hook. So obviously you've got your swivel straight to your line, down to your sinker, and then you've got your hook coming out off the side. I've actually got the swivel that has the 3 hoops in them, and that allows my hook to be out into the side there. And because I'm not using the bait runner and it's a recurve hook, I basically fish in gear. So the fish grabs the bait and the recurve hook in the mouth, pulls up tight, goes tight, and actually hooks themselves. So that's how I use my dropper rig.
Hey?
So Pierre's hooked up.
king of the Kauai. King of the Kauai.
That wasn't a bad day.
No, pretty good.
Pierre caught a couple, I caught a couple. Had to move on. Caught a stingray, but our first spot we had to move off. Wasn't a lot happening. Headed further down and we got onto some fish. A few Kauai, trevally there. No snapper, but like I was saying, a couple of weeks into August, snapper's probably going to be a little bit scarce. And the tides sort of pushed us off our spot. So we normally fish there on dark, and we were getting snapper there a couple of months ago. So whether that was the problem, not too sure, but still a cool day. Good to get a line wet, have a made up beach and stuff, so it doesn't always need to be about catching fish. It's a great day. Tight lines.
Thanks for watching another great day out fishing with Real Kiwi Fishing. And you can also find more of my movies on my YouTube channel, Real Kiwi Fishing.